Today I've got a very special video for you. So this video is a call recording of a live one-on-one coaching call that one of my clients had with my client success manager, Eduardo, and really diving deep into how Eduardo was able to unlock Joe's appointment setting bottleneck, where he booked a record 9 calls in the next couple of days right after this as well. So Joe's a fitness coach. He works with Christian men, helping them get in shape and dial everything in. And he was having issues with lead gen and then also appointment setting. So I helped him one-on-one on a coaching call, on our onboarding call, script out his ads. He's getting about 100 to 150 leads every single day. And then Eduardo hopped on with him as well on a different one-on-one coaching call to alleviate Joe's bottleneck of appointment setting. So Eduardo used to be an appointment setter for a fitness offer, booking like 30 calls a week, qualified calls too. So he knows what he's doing. And he's helped a ton of other clients as well unlock their appointment setting bottlenecks, give them the script, the frameworks, and everything that they need to start packing out their calendar with qualified sales calls that end up buying from you. So that said, sit back, relax. This is going to be a banger, and you're going to learn a lot from it. So make sure you grab your notebook, start taking some notes, because this will actually help you make a ton of money if you choose to let it. So again, I just kind of want to peel back the curtain, show you what it's like on the other side in the program, and kind of the level of detail and depth that we go with our clients to make sure that they get the result that they're paying for, which is no surprise why we get the client results that we do. So anyways, that's enough for me. Enjoy the video.
Hey, Eduardo, how you doing?
Great, man. What about you?
I'm doing great, Glad we got the call set up, man. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too, bro. Sorry for all that back and forth. It's
all good. I know you guys are in Vegas doing all that stuff. So
yeah, a bit of a funny story, but Jeremy's running a marathon right now. That was
really?
that was the original plan. Like when we first planned the trip, we were going to do the marathon. I was also going to do it, but my knee during the training, my knee was like just bothering me a lot. So yesterday, last minute, we're like, you know what? Let's just do it. But I was like, no, honestly, no,
Yeah.
my body's not good for that. So yeah, but yeah, they're doing that. So sorry for all that back and forth. But yeah, actually, how do you pronounce your setter's name?
Levi.
Levi. Awesome.
Yeah.
He's well.
Yeah, and he's new and helping me out. Basically, it was my first time getting a setter, so getting used to it. But yeah.
Awesome. Levi, can you hear me? Are you there? Awesome. Well, appreciate you guys being here. All right, so I know we have a bunch of couple questions that you sent to me, Joe. We're gonna cover all of that. But first of all, you both watched the training, right?
Yes. And that was totally different than what I had learned on. So it was really helpful to see. I actually like a lot of what you're doing much better than what I learned.
Can you tell me why? What is it like? Was it like more scripted, or what was like the?
So I used the script. I came from a program, Brian and Cole's program. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but they train PTs. Like Patrick Hong is from that. Basically, they teach validate, relate, lean in. Validate what they say, relate it to something in your life, and then lean in for a deeper question. And then the script wants you to get 3 things. We're fitness trainers, so the script wants you to get 3 things: fitness goal, biggest struggle with fitness, and then how long you've struggled. If you get all 3, book a call. I actually like the 10 bullet points and then try to get 5 much better because it's more conversational. So I like that, and I like the ACA. I think I read that in Hormozy's book too, and I wanted to switch to that anyway.
Yeah, it's in $100 million leads. Exactly. Yeah, I've seen that a lot in a lot of programs. I mean, again, there's many ways to do it. I just like this one because it's way more like natural, I would say, and especially for your type of offer, like B2C fitness offers specifically, where it's like a very kind of like emotional, unsophisticated type of buyer, has a way better impact in my opinion. But I mean, you can still combine both. So Levi, what about you, brother? Just want to hear like your experience with setting in general. Like, was that approach that you saw in the training similar to what you've been doing? Is it very different? Just to see where we need to start.
So I'm like brand new to this. Like most of the knowledge I have is just that Joey and I talk like most days, and he's explained the process to me. So it's like I am not an expert by any means, but I have a pretty decent idea of what to do when it comes. It's just like I haven't had enough practice to implement, so I don't know like as much as someone like Joey will, who's been doing this for the last year.
I've had him on a script too, Eduardo. So that script that I talked about.
Okay. Well, I have good news for you. Sometimes it's way better to have someone who hasn't done appointment setting before start doing it with the right approach versus someone who's been doing it with like not so right approach, because then on training to then retrain someone is way harder. So I'm happy. Yeah, I think we're gonna be able to do a lot of progress here. So two things. First, before I forget, you know, Joe, that every day we have during the week we have different call, right? Wednesdays is appointment setting calls, and we invite the setters to come in as well.
Okay.
So if you can put that on your calendar, Levi, if that works for you, it's Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific. I don't know if you can make it.
Okay. So noon Central.
Noon Central. Yeah.
Cool. We'll try to make it work. And if not, we'll definitely watch the recordings. I can make them.
Yeah, awesome. So just for you to know, we invite both the coaches and the setters, and it's all about appointment setting. So there's where you can literally like, some people just come on and like, hey, what would I respond here? And they just share their screen. We literally break down the conversation. So it's like very, very cool because I mean, to get your questions answered that way, but also you learn a lot by seeing what all people are doing and the questions that they ask, right? So if you both can make it, that would be amazing, and would highly, highly recommend you to be there as well, Levi. And yeah.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, I think appointment setting is the biggest roadblock in my business right now. I have content doing well. I'm getting about 200 followers a day. I have high engagement, but about each reel averages about 9,000 views. So, and I just ran my first ad. So I think top of funnel is good. Bottom funnel, I'm closing about 60 to 70% of calls. So it's like the big issue is lead nurturing. So
yeah, volume, appointment, 100%. So let's focus on fixing that. All right, so let's just do a quick recap. I want to just go real quick with that, Joe. Just a quick recap with the stuff that was covered in the training, and then I will get to tackle your questions, which are very straightforward. So that's not going to take us a lot of time. So want for us to start there. So quick recap on the training, right? There are basically, and this is going to help you a lot, Levi. So highly recommend you to take notes on this thing that we're going to cover today. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have heard the difference between passive learning and active learning. Just a quick reminder, the amount of information that you retain in your brain when you're actively learning versus passively learning. Have you seen that or not?
no.
Okay, I'm just gonna show you real quick. This is, I mean, for my call, but in general, just a general approach in life. I mean, I don't know if I think Jeremy told you, right, Joe, that I come from like a peak performance background, like productivity, focus. So a lot of that stuff is what I've been studying as a coach. So yeah, just for you guys to know a little bit, but basically, quick reminder, when you're passively learning, when you're just like reading something, you remember 10% of what you read. When you're listening to something, you remember around 20%. When you see something, it's around 30%. It's a combination of like what you see and what you hear, around 50%, sorry. But when you're actually writing stuff, it can boost your retention of the information to about 70%. And if you're actually like doing something, it makes you remember around 90%. So if you've ever been to like a conference with like really, really good public speakers, I don't know if you've seen this, they force you to start doing stuff. Like they ask you questions that you know, or they make you like, hey, stand up, do this, do that, write something down, like, because they know that they want you to remember. So just a quick tip for, I mean, for this call, but in general for all of the calls and whatever you attend to, like if you're writing and active, like, and actually being active while you're learning, you're going to retain way more information. So just a quick tip there.
Awesome.
Real quick, do you remember what are the three parts of the conversation?
Yeah, you open, you nurture, and then you pitch the call.
Yes, and what is the objective in each of those? Each one has just one objective, right?
Oh, I don't remember from the video, but I would say open is to get a response. Nurture is to like get enough leverage maybe so that it makes sense to hop on a call, and then to close the pitch would be like to get them to say yes.
Basically, yeah. So the opener, and this is just like a really important thing for me to remind every person that I speak when it comes to appointment setting, because you need to, before you hit the main objective for each part of the conversation, you don't want to move to the next one, right? I see a lot of people who don't have any conversations going, who are like eager to just like get them on call, and I'm like, bro, you don't even have a conversation going. So the opener, first part of the conversation, the only objective is to get the conversation going. That's it. You want them to reply to you. So again, in this point, we're not focused on booking a call yet. You just want them to get back to you and get the conversation going, right? That is the only objective. Once you actually fulfill that, Then you move to like nurture / discovery, where the objective is to build leverage through the conversation so that by the time that you pitch, it makes sense for them to want to hop on a call with you, right? So that's a whole objective, building leverage. And then the last part, once you build enough leverage, is close / pitch. The objective is just to book a call. So once you open the conversation and once you build enough leverage, now you want to get them on the call, right? You want to book the call. So when it comes to building leverage, do you guys remember what is the difference there? There's two ways to build leverage.
Yeah, there's depth, and then there's well, you can go deep and someone shares their whole life story, or you can go get 5 points out of 10 and just get a little bit from everyone.
Depth or volume, exactly. Those two ways, right? So what do I mean by that? Like in the end, and this is like the one tricky part about like this approach is that unfortunately there's not like a specific number or metric where I can tell you like, oh yeah, once this happens in the conversation, that's when you have enough leverage. Like it's not that straightforward. It's like a muscle that you guys are going to have to be developing as you keep doing this. But basically the golden question that you want to ask yourself is because again, in the end, remember, who are you? Like you're speaking to a complete stranger online who doesn't know who you are, and you've just been having a back and forth. So there needs to be a good enough reason for them to want to hop on a call with you, right? So the golden question that you want to ask yourself is, based on the conversation that I've just had, with all the information and the context, would it make sense to this prospect to want to hop on a call with me right now if I pitch? That's a question that you want to ask yourself. If you say like, yeah, and here's the thing, if you have enough leverage, even if they say no, you can use that leverage to then handle the objections and then turn it into a conversation. So let's say that you and me are having a conversation, Joe, and you just told me that, yeah, bro, I've been trying to lose weight. I've been trying to lose 20 pounds for the last 3 months and I haven't been able to make any progress. I'm desperate. I've tried a lot of things and it doesn't work. And then I pitch the call and you're like, oh, no, thank you. I'm like, bro, you just said you've been doing this for like 3 months. You haven't been able to, you see, like, that's what I mean by you haven't been able to do this for 3 months. You've tried like this, like, how much time can you afford to not, so that's the whole point of the leverage and asking yourself that question. So there's two ways to actually build that. Again, it's either through depth or through volume. What do I mean by that? When I speak about volume, is those like 5 to 10 main points that we spoke about in the beginning. Like you want to know what is like what are the points? Because in the end, the person who asks the questions is the one who controls the conversation, right?
Yep.
So it is your duty, your job as the one being in the inbox to hold the frame and ask the right questions to take the conversation in the direction that you want it to go, right?
Yep.
So there's two ways of building leverage. You can either get depth from just one or two of those points, or if they're not giving you depth, you just go for volume, right? What do I mean by that? Sometimes, as you saw in the examples, you ask people like, hey, how's the fitness journey going? And even with just that one question, people are like, dude, it's been going horrible. I've tried this, and that for like 3 years, and we can make any progress, And there's some people are just like, could be better.
Yep.
So you would agree with me that in scenario one, if after someone says that to me, I pitch a call, it would probably make sense for them if it's pitched in the way that it explains how that's going to solve it, for them to want to hop on a call and hear more. But if I pitch the call to scenario two, they're going to be like, no, like why? Like don't make any sense. So in that case, you want to go for volume. So the first rule, and just by the way, I'm going to cover everything right now, answer your questions, and then at the end, we're going to do a little role play where we're going to bring everything together. Okay, so I mean, if you have any questions as I'm explaining all of this to you guys, please let me know. But I'm just going to keep going, try to cover everything. But basically, you always want to prioritize depth. How do you do that? Every time that someone shares something with you, before you move for volume, you want to ask yourself, is there any more depth that I can get from this thing that they just shared with me? You always want to grab everything that they shared with you before you move on for something. So for example, let's say that you and me are having a conversation. Hey, Joe, how's everything going, bro? How's the fitness journey? And you're like, yeah, it's going, could be better, bro. I've been struggling a little bit. I see a lot of people, like that is an amazing opportunity for you to get depth.
Right.
I see a lot of people immediately move to like, oh, have you tried something different? So that's why I'm saying like you always prioritize depth if it is possible. If not, you move on to something, to something different, to volume. So in that scenario, what would be a way to get depth? Oh,
why are you struggling?
Exactly. Or why? Like the way that you get depth is why, how do you mean? Tell me more about that. What exactly do you mean? You ask those types of questions to go deeper. So in this case, like, oh, so what do you mean when you say you're struggling? Like, what exactly do you mean, Joe? So you always want to prioritize depth. You always read what they say. If there is an opportunity for depth, you want to grab it. If there isn't, then you move for volume. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Any questions so far, Joe?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of level 1, 2, and 3 pain? Like trying to get level 3 pain? That was something I was taught in my last coaching program. They said level 1 is like, I want to lose weight to look good. Level 2 is like, well, it makes me feel insecure to take my shirt off. And then level 3 is like, well, I don't want my kids to have an out of shape dad. I want to be a strong role model. And like they say try to get level 3 pain and then book a call.
Got. I mean, it's a good approach and good framework. Here's the thing. The way that I see it is, when it comes to the inbox, I mean, as you can probably already tell and relate, especially with the type of offer that you have in being emotional buyers and not sophisticated buyers in the inbox, it's you want to get them on the call. Like the more like in my like the way that I like to see it is like you want to just do minimum effective dose in the inbox. Just get enough for them to be convinced to hop on a call with you, because it's honestly, it's just like, it's a completely different beast and really, really hard to get someone to really open with you and share like a deep emotional pain on the DMs versus being on a call with you, right?
Yeah.
So I see a lot of people that get like really stubborn with like trying to get to that like level 3 pain. When, I mean, think about it this way. If someone shares with you, even if it's like level 1 pain, but they share like all of these things, right? They're like, oh yeah, trying to lose weight. Why? Because I mean, trying to lose 20 pounds, don't love how I look. I would love to lose that, but I've been trying for like a year. I haven't been able to make any progress. Like if they share those things with you, and then you pitch your program or the call with your frame, it would still make sense for them to want to hop on a call with you and learn more about it, right? But if you if you try to get more in the DMs and just stay stuck with like trying to go deep and deep and deep and deep, and it could be like a waste of time both for you and for them. Because again, the only objective of the whole DM conversation is to book a call. You're not selling yet, right? So the way that I like to see it is minimum effective dose. Again, that's why, I mean, if you can get that level of pain, amazing. What I'm saying is like, just don't get obsessed about doing that, because you can still build enough leverage without doing that. And sometimes that just turns people off. And I've seen a lot of people trying to like, there's sometimes where it's like they have more than enough leverage and they just still try to keep going and going and going and going just to try to get that level 3 pain. And I'm like, bro, there's no need. Just pitch the call, because either way, in the Zoom call or in the phone call, you're gonna be digging to those pains, right?
Yes. And I've done that for sure. You just keep saying why and then they ghost you. Yep.
Yeah, because no one wants to have an emotional conversation on the inbox. Some people open up, but so that's why I'm saying, when you're in the inbox, minimum effective dose to want to get them to call with you. Because I mean, once you're with someone in the call, it's a completely different game, right?
Yep. Got it.
So that's why I'm always like, what is the minimum necessary or the minimum effective dose that you can get from the conversation to get them to, so that by the time that you pitch a call, it makes sense for them to want to hop on. But again, you're not selling in the DMs yet. You're selling the call, not the program. So you just need enough leverage for it to make sense for them to want to hop on a call with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Any questions so far? All right. So that being said, then how does this look like, right? Just the last part before I forget. Just a reminder, you always want to put yourself in the shoes of your avatar, right? Or the person that you're speaking with. So use common sense, right? When you're speaking to someone. I know it sounds funny, but you would be surprised from what I've seen people doing in the inbox. They send messages to someone, and I'm like, bro, would you ever say this to someone in person? And they're like, oh, holy shit, no. Then I'm like, why the fuck are you doing that in the DMs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So always think as if you're speaking to someone in person. That's really, really helpful. Always using the ACA framework. That's super, super crucial. Every time that you're speaking to someone, every time that you reply, you always use that framework. Always. Acknowledge. Here's the thing. There's 3 components from the ACA framework: acknowledge, compliment, and ask a question, right? Complimenting is not mandatory, only when it makes sense. You don't want to force it, because if it's forced, it just looks weird, right? And salesy. So if there's an opportunity to compliment someone, do it. If not, don't do that. Acknowledging and asking a question is something that you always do. Always.
Yeah. And Eduardo, let me know what you think of this. A lot of times I'll relate it to me if it's not appropriate to compliment. So if they say like, I've been struggling to lose weight for years, I might say like, dude, I totally get that. I used to struggle with losing weight for years on end, and it caused me a lot of anxiety. I get that. And then I
That
asked
is
my phone.
that is acknowledging. Yeah, there's no point
Oh,
in
yeah.
there's no point in complimenting anything, right? But that is an amazing way to, like, if you can acknowledge in a way that you're also relating to them with your story, that is like amazing. So
Got it.
whole thing that you did there was the acknowledgement, and you just asked the question. Yeah, in that case, there wasn't any point in complimenting, unless they said like, yeah, bro, I've been struggling with this for X amount of years, and I just decided to start right now. So that would be a good opportunity to be like, hey, I also relate. I mean, I relate a lot with that. I also struggle with this, but man, congrats on getting started. That's one of the most important, that's one of the most difficult steps. I'm really happy for you. Glad, so when you have the opportunity, compliment, but when you don't force it. Just make sure that you always acknowledge and ask a question. Real quick before I forget, because I've heard this many. When people ask you a question, I see a lot of people ignore questions in the inbox. And again, put yourself in their shoes. If you and me are having a conversation in person, I'm asking you questions, and then you suddenly ask me one, and I ignore it, you're gonna be turned off, right? So every time that someone asks you a question, you reply. The first thing you do, you reply to that like short, straight to the point, and like don't go deep, and then immediately ask your question again to regain the frame, right?
Right. Yeah, because they took frame away by asking, right?
Yeah, but again, but if you ignore the question, because I see a lot of people doing that, if you ignore the question, they're gonna stop replying to you as well. So just if someone asks you a question, first thing you do is you reply to the question, but like very straightforward, short. Like don't try to not give them opportunity to go deeper into that, and then you immediately ask your question again.
Got it. I don't do that. I ignore the question. So thank you.
Yeah.
Because I get pissed. I'm like, I'm trying to book you out a call.
Yeah. But think about it that way. That's what I'm saying. Like, if we're having a conversation in person, and I'm asking you a lot of questions, and you're cool, but then you ask me one, and I completely ignore it. So you're gonna be like, huh? I'm not gonna keep answering your questions if you don't answer mine, right?
Yes.
All right.
Sorry. Just
So
taking notes.
yeah. All right. So with that being said, yeah, I think the last thing is for us to just review the 5 to 10 main points. Oh, and just before, well, the 5 to 10 main points and the pitch. So as I said, the last thing, I never recommend using like a script. The one thing that I do recommend is, or in the one part that I do recommend doing, that is just in the pitch, like having that pitch sequence that I shared there in the training. So I want with for us in the next, I mean, this is probably going to take us like 5 to 10 minutes to just first do the 5 to 10 main points, and then do the pitch, and then we'll move into answering your questions, Joe, and doing a little role play. Sounds good?
That sounds great.
Awesome. So for the 5 to 10 main points, have you thought of that?
I have all 10. I was hoping to share them with you.
Please.
So I help Catholic men, ideally aged 23 to 33, who have disposable income.
Okay, give me just a second. I'm gonna write all of this down. Make sure that we have it. Okay.
Cool. So number one, what do you do for work? I want them to be financially qualified.
Yeah.
2 is what's your goal? 3 is what are you struggling with in fitness? 4 is how long have you struggled? 5 is, are you Catholic? 6 is like pain, like how is this causing you pain, confidence, insecurity, stuff like that. 7 is why do you want to change now rather than down the road? Induce like urgency, 8 is what have you tried before? 9 is what country are you from? I want to know that because a lot of poor people, there's a lot of countries that are third world that are Catholic. And then 10 is why is it important for you to lose the weight?
Awesome.
You think those are good?
Yeah. Here's what I would like to do. Just organize them in a sequential order that makes sense and has a really good flow for the conversation.
Okay.
What do I mean by that? We're gonna put them in an order where, if again, just thinking of like how the conversation is going to go, try to make a lot of sense, because look at this. Like if you're following, I mean, then that's just gonna make the whole process for appointment setting for both of you way easier. If it is like in an order that makes sense in the prospect's head. Like if you first start the conversation, again, opener. If you immediately try to go like straight for the throat as soon as you open the conversation, you're not going to get a lot of replies. So if you ask like a more laid back question, like, hey, either where are you from or what do you do for a work or hey, are you Catholic? Like whatever, you know, one of those three is probably going to get a better reply rate. Like, hey, what's your goal with fitness? Because that's going to be like, oh, this sounds salesy, straight out the door, right? So if you're asking them, what do you do for work? But then you immediately move to like, what is your goal with fitness and what are you struggling? And then you go back to, are you Catholic? So you're jumping between things, right? So again, we want to put ourselves in like the head of the prospect. So once you start digging deeper or touching the fitness points, I would try to just stay there. So here's the thing. If you already know that based on what they do for a living, based on where they live and whether they're Catholic or not, that's going to qualify them or not. So first of all, it is easier for you to start the conversation with those questions because it's like more laid back and not salesy. And number two, if someone is not qualified, it saves you a lot of time to not even have to start the conversation on the other points, right? Because let me ask you something. If someone says they're unemployed, they're from a third world country and they're not Catholic, would you even hop on a sales call with them? No, might as well just save yourself the entire conversation in the DMs and find out that straight out the door, right?
Yeah. So what do you do for work? Maybe are you Catholic, and what country are you from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think from those three, the first one, and again, sometimes we're going to have to test just to see what is the reply rate that we get. But I think the best question that you can ask in the beginning is just, where are you from? Seems to me that is like a little bit more laid back. Like, or what
Yeah.
do you,
I've been sometimes I've said like, hey man, thanks for the follow, and then I say God bless because like Catholic, and then on my second message is sometimes like fellow Catholic question mark, and then that gets a response a lot. I've also said like, are you Catholic and on a fitness journey as well? But that's fitnessy. So
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, if you've already tested it in the first one, the first example that you just gave me has a really good reply rate, dude. Let's double down on that. Let's use that one.
cool.
So
Yeah, because they'll respond with like, yeah, man, I am really like the page, and then boom.
yeah, that's okay. That's perfect. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. Can you so this is for new followers, right?
Yeah, well, I typically don't message new followers. I try to message people that like and comment.
Okay.
I don't know if I should message new followers because like they're cold. I should.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Like now that we're gonna launch the ads, or I don't know if you already launched it, the one that
Launched one. Yep.
Okay. Every single new follower that you get, you're gonna message them.
Okay. Shit. Okay.
Yeah.
We're getting like 200 a day.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we're gonna try to.
How about Levi? Maybe scroll through, and if they look like our avatar, start there. Like if it's
That's what I have been doing.
okay when you do message followers.
Mhm.
Cool.
How many?
It depends because I think yesterday you had 30 new followers, and I messaged probably 8 of them because they looked potential, like they had potential. The other ones didn't really look like that. A lot of them were in high school or in college.
Yeah. Yeah. We got 150 followers total yesterday. Messaged 8, and then I told Levi to focus on like the comments and the likes. But it sounds like we're gonna have to message all the followers too.
How are you guys defining whether someone is a good follower or not?
I don't think we have a process. I would
Whether
just say
they look overweight is one of the big ones.
Okay, but here's what I'm asking you guys. You'd be surprised because here's the thing, for your offer specifically, where you're targeting just like normal everyday people, not like online business owners where their profile should be optimized for a specific outcome. Maybe there's someone who's like a perfect fit for you that just doesn't have any posts, doesn't have a profile picture because they don't like social media a lot, but they could be a potential avatar. So I think for your offer, it's very hard to determine whether someone is a good fit or not.
I see, because I've had that. I've closed guys who had no profile photo.
You have no idea, right? So for your offer, so here's what my recommendation for you guys would be this. Instead of trying to look for who looks like a good fit, because you cannot determine that, I would look for like, only if they have like a clear red flag that tells you that they're not a fit, because if not, you really don't know, you really have no idea, like until you have a conversation with them.
So let's just message them all, unless they're like a woman.
Yeah. So
Or
here's
like, and like an Asian name or something that looks. You know
So
what I mean?
that's what I mean. If it's a clear red flag, so that's okay. That's a really good question. You don't work with women.
Right.
Okay, so if it's a woman, you don't message them. If it's I mean, if it's clear that they're a kid from high school, you know, or from like a third world country, like, but only if it's clear. Honestly, you always wanna give them the benefit of the doubt, and especially at the stage of the business that you guys are at. Here's what we're going to do. We're going, and you probably saw this in the appointment setting masterclass at the beginning, where we gave them like this like whole spiel about like, guys, stop adding friction when it's unnecessary. In the beginning, we need to optimize for volume, and then we're going to start adding friction. So right now, we need to optimize for volume and having as many conversations as possible. So how many followers are you getting per day?
100 to 300. This ad is helping, I think. I have one reel that's getting about 20,000 views a day, and that's helping. The ad's getting about, the ad has 10,000 views right now after a day.
Fuck. Okay.
I know. I'm telling you, man, I hit on something gold. We got a golden goose here. I just don't know how to fucking book calls. Like, I should have a full calendar.
That's what we're gonna do here. Okay, bro. That's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
by
And
the
then,
way.
yeah.
Like-
And then metric wise, we're doing 20,000 a month. I have a setter, an editor, a shadow coach, or CSM. And then, yeah, I would say average reel gets 9 to 10,000 views.
Okay, that's really good. The only thing I want to make sure is that you're not. Have you tried like? What are you guys? Are you guys tracking your numbers when it comes to appointment setting?
I just started. If I'm going to be honest, I've been growing quickly and I just didn't track things. So now I'm tracking everything.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it works. So, okay. You're in a very good spot, bro, by the way. And just
Good.
to optimize how we're gonna squeeze as much out of. Okay, so here's usually how it works. First bottleneck. This is just the order. First bottleneck is leads, which you kind of like, you check that. You have like that bottleneck for you checked. Second bottleneck is appointment setting. How do we turn those leads into booked calls? And that's the one that we need to put all of our focus right now. I don't know if you were on Jeremy's and Alex's call this Monday, where they spoke about like constraints. Watch that recording. If you didn't, bro, like that was an amazing call. I'm gonna send you the recording here. Give me just a second, and I'll share the link with you. Monday. So
Levi is also part-time. He works about 2 hours a day. So that's another constraint.
Just send you the recording here.
Got it. I'll watch it. I'll watch the whole thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be actually also so that let's try that you have it. Here it is. Share that with you on our.
Thank you.
Okay. So you said, Levi, you're working how many hours?
2 hours a day.
Okay.
I do about an hour. That's not true. Probably 30 minutes.
Okay. Okay. You're in a very interesting spot. Because here's the thing, reaching out to all of the, okay, before we even get into that. So you say that you usually are reaching out to people that comment and people that like, right? How do you go about that? You just check your notifications and reach out to those people, or is there like a specific like operating procedure that you have for that? Or
I don't think I have an SOP. I'll like go into the recent reel, see who liked it, scroll through, say, hey, thanks for supporting the content lately. God bless. And then if they respond, or sometimes I'll ask a question. Sometimes I won't. And then if they respond, I try to book a call.
okay, so let's fix that first and foremost. Every single time that you reach out to someone, ask a question. Always.
Okay.
Whether so there's like, let's say three scenarios, right? Three scenarios of people interacting with you. It can be new followers, liking or commenting.
Got it.
Or CTA. Do you do call to actions?
I do a soft call to action on Fridays and then a hard CTA on Mondays, usually on my story.
And is that CTA like, send me this keyword if you're interested in blah, in whatever, or how is that?
It's usually a vote. Like, I'm looking for 2 guys who want to lose 20 pounds. You interested? You want to hear more? And it's either like hell yes or no thanks. And then I try to message the people that say hell yes.
Okay. So you don't do any CTAs right now that are like, send me a DM?
No,
Okay.
I don't think I've done that.
Do you have, so you launched the ad that you launched is a follower ad, right?
Yep.
You haven't launched swipe up retargeting ads?
I have not done that. No.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna write that down as well. Joe, bro, sorry, I'm just getting really excited. Like, we're gonna blow this up really, really fast.
Good, man, because the bottleneck, I know it's here, you know?
There's so many things that we can do to fix it.
Let's fuck out, dude. I'm hoping
Okay.
for a 50K month by the end of the year.
Oh yeah, bro. I mean, but we can,
Yeah, knock on wood.
we can make that happen before the end of the year. Like, if you've been doing this so far with the current system, like, which is amazing, just a couple tweaks we're gonna make, and it's gonna get nasty.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so let's do this. I think you and me are gonna have to book another call this week, cover a couple other things, but for now, let's just finish, focus on the appointment setting side of things. Sorry, let me just taking some notes. Give me just a second. Okay, sorry. But no, I mean, thank you for giving me all the context. You're in a really good place, bro. I'm excited. So first thing we want to do is let's fix the 5 to 10 main points, just the order of the conversation. Actually, sorry, before we do that, let's start with the openers, right? So you have basically 3 different scenarios. You either new followers, people who engaged with your content, or call to actions. Those are the different scenarios in terms of like people that interact with you, right? So we're gonna have like an opener for each of those, right? New followers and engagers with your content is gonna be very similar, but new followers, you always wanna, the process, as you've probably seen, we recommend like, hey name, thanks for the follow, and then asking a question, right?
Yep.
So new followers, engagers, and then CTAs, let's do both. Okay, so for new followers, hey name, and I'm gonna send you all of this, by the way, so that you have it. Hey name, thanks for the follow. And what is the question that you like to ask them? Or sorry, I mean, I think you already had it. Again, the hey name, thanks for the follow, just a template, but you said that you already adjusted that with kind of your messaging, right? Like, how do you?
Yeah, so for an opener, I can say something like, I've tried a bunch of different things. I've tried like, how'd you find the page or something like that. But I think the best one is like fellow Catholic ? And then maybe like the eye emoji or like the Catholic flag emoji.
Okay.
Like the eyes looking to the side, you know. But sometimes no emoji also works. I don't know how in the weeds we have to get, but
What do you think it's better? Just out of intuition, emoji or not an emoji?
no emoji.
Emoji, okay. Just fellow Catholic, that's it?
Yeah, I think so. Because it's like short to the point and it's like asking them a very simple question.
Yeah. So and the first message, I think you said you added like, it wasn't just like, hey name, thanks for the follow. You added something different, right?
Hey name, thanks for the follow period. God bless, prayer emoji. And then second message was fellow Catholic ?
Perfect. Okay. So that's what we're gonna do for the new followers. Hey
Okay.
name, the follow, God bless, and the prayer emoji. And then next message, fellow Catholic. That's gonna be the question. Okay.
Yeah, I like
Then
that.
for engagers with your content. What are the different options? Whether they liked or they commented, right? But regardless of that, you said that you were reaching out like, hey, thank you for supporting the page, or you said something around that, right? Like,
yeah, I usually say, hey name, thanks so much for supporting my content lately. And then how has the fitness journey been going lately? Or you know what I'll say, Eduardo, I'll say, you want a fitness journey too, question mark, or just enjoying the content?
Okay, question for you, so that we can have some like consistency throughout the whole system. What do you think about asking the same question like fellow Catholic before we get into the fitness questions before that?
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then for the call to action.
I usually say, if it's a hard CTA, I'm usually like, hey bro, thanks so much. I've got a bunch more info for you here in a minute. Mind if I ask you some questions first? Question mark.
Okay. So can you remind, when you say you said hard or direct CTA, can you remind me what's usually the type of call to actions that you use?
Yeah, I'll do a story, usually a picture of myself, and then a story capture, text that says like, I'm looking for, 5 guys who want to lose 20 pounds in the next 3 months. Interested? Question mark, and then a poll. And there's usually 2 options, which is like me, or might do 3, which is like, yes, pick me, or like I'm kind of interested, and then no, this is a scam.
Okay. Okay.
So I try to do something a little controversial, so it
Yeah.
boosts it.
I would just be worried with using the word scam because
Okay.
maybe like the only reason is because if some people are not even thinking of that and then you put it there and you make it sound like an option in their head, So instead of saying like, again, you always wanna make your thing look like a good thing. Just it's whether they're interested or not. But if it's because they're not interested, it's just because they don't want to make their life better, not because your program is shit. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, so don't even put it in their head.
I mean, don't put the fact that it's don't make it about you, make it about them. Instead of saying like, no, this is a scam because you're making it about your program being bad, make it like, no, I'm not interested in getting healthier. I'm not, like, so
Yeah.
make them frame themselves of like, yeah, I'm not interested in getting better, not thinking like, no, this program is not good for you. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
make it about them, not about you. Like, never make them think that your thing is bad because it isn't, right? So
I'm in law school, and our professors have given very similar advice when we talk about cases. If you
Yeah,
have a
man.
bad case, you don't talk about the bad parts of that case. You talk about how that case isn't relevant, or you frame it in a good way.
yeah, that's a really good example, Levi. It's basically the same thing, Joe. Instead of putting in their head like, oh, this program is not good, if they click that button, it has to be because they're saying like, I don't want to get better. Like.
I like that. Yep.
So just a quick change for you to do there. Okay, so Paul, hey name. Actually, here's what we're gonna do here. I'm taking notes of all of this, and I'm gonna send it to you on the chat, by the way. But
Perfect.
so if that's the scenario, how do you usually reply? Hey name, thanks for, or
Thanks.
call to
Thanks for
action?
vote. I will usually say, hey bro, thanks for voting, or hey man, thanks for voting on my story, bro. Love to see that you're trying to get in shape. Would love to give you some more info. Mind if I ask you a few questions? Something like that. I don't have one templated message. Maybe that's an issue too. I kind of just feel it out.
The more than we can systematize this, the better.
Okay. And if you recommend changing any of these, like this is just what
I'm gonna send you the templates. So what we're going to do is, hey name, thanks for voting on my story. Love to see that you want to get in shape. Really appreciate you. We can change that. Actually, here's what we're gonna do. Hey name, love to see that you want to get in shape, send. And then the second message is going to be, thanks for voting on my story. Is it okay if I ask a couple of questions to see how I can best help you? And if it even makes sense for you to work one-on-one with me? Again, you want to make it about them.
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
You want to make it about them, not about you. So if you're saying, is it okay if I ask questions to see how I can best help you? You know, like, so that's,
Yeah,
so again, I'm going to send you all of this.
makes sense to work with me because, like, you know,
Laid back.
yeah, scarcity too.
Yeah. And the other one is
Well, I also do soft CTAs, which is like, do you struggle more with diet or exercise, or like, what's your favorite food?
that's perfect. Still
Same thing.
like, hey name, so that, or I mean, voting on. So what's the difference? Sorry, the word that you used, soft or hard?
Hard is like, I want you to tell me if you want
Yeah.
to sign up to my program.
Okay, and then let's do soft.
And that's just silly stuff like, what's your favorite exercise, or do you struggle with food or working out?
And how do you usually handle those conversations?
I don't have a templated way. I would say something like, if it was, what do you struggle with more, food, diet, or exercise? And they said diet, I would be like, hey, dude, I noticed you said on my story you struggle with diet. Like, would love to see if I can help. What's the issue here? Or like, what do you struggle with diet? It's not templated.
Got you. I noticed. Again, I'm just trying to put a template here that you can use in a systematized way. So the way that I'm doing this, hey name, but maybe let me know if you like this, Joe. Love to see that you went to X, and in parentheses, I just put what you covered on the poll, but I don't know if that's a good way to frame it. Love to see that you want to, or if it's usually a different type of, like can you give me some examples of the types of polls that you do when it's a soft?
Yeah, so I say my three main ones are like, what do you struggle with more, diet or exercise?
Okay.
What's your favorite food? What's your favorite exercise? Or like, what's this exercise called?
Okay.
How about this? Like, hey name, noticed you said X.
Yeah.
And then second message is like, I was curious, ... And then like, you know, and then just a follow up, I guess. I was curious, ... Fellow Catholic, or I was curious, like, what makes you say
Yeah.
that? I was curious, ... What makes you say that? Because that would systematize it.
Okay, I like that. So tell me, let me ask you something. Would you prefer to start there or ask them also the fellow Catholic?
I don't know. If they're voting on my, yeah, then we should like make the first message more engaging. We should be like, dude, I saw you voted on my story. That's awesome, bro. Love to see, and then be like, fellow Catholic question mark. I like that.
I love that. Okay. So, hey name, hope you're doing great. Thanks for, can you say that again? How did you say it?
Yeah,
Like,
I think I said, what's up, man? Exclamation point. Thanks so much for voting on my story. Noticed you said X. That was my issue too. LOL.
okay.
Fellow Catholic. I think that would be good. What do you think?
I love that. Yeah, let's try that. Just fellow Catholic, or are you also a fellow Catholic, or just fellow Catholic? I think it's fine.
I think we could say like, are you also a fellow Catholic in that case? But for the new follower, I think
Oh,
fellow.
for the new follower, yeah, it's perfect the way that it is. I was just thinking of like how, yeah, the flow for this.
This one for the flow, I think we could say, are you also a fellow Catholic? I like that.
Awesome.
Bro, this is good. We're gonna do some damage.
Good. Just wait. Okay. By the way, do you guys have more time?
I do. Levi, do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me run to the restroom real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same. Also, quick break.
Thanks.
I'll see
Okay,
you
let's
in
cool.
minutes, yeah.
All right, I'm ready when you guys are. Eduardo, were you a setter and a closer, or were you just a setter for a high ticket coach? Or
Just setter.
okay, so you're like an expert at this kind of.
A little bit, yeah.
That's awesome. I'm excited. I kind of figured Jeremy was like, he'll answer all your questions. And I'm like, thank goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, I was booking like 25 to 30 calls per week when I was setting.
Dude,
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
It was a fun yeah, I joined the business when they were doing like 5K per month. Honestly, there was a lot of things that aligned. It was not only me. Like they were amazing at marketing. We're just honestly they sucked at setting. So as soon as I joined, and they focused completely on marketing, and I took the inbox. I joined them. It was a February, and they had 3,000 followers. Just for you to I mean, honestly, I haven't seen that almost anywhere else. It was like crazy, but I mean, it's just like when all of the pieces aligned, right?
Yep.
I joined them in a February, and they had 3,000 followers, and by May we had 100,000, just organic. There was just a post that blew up, went super viral, and it was a post that had a call to action like, "Hey, send me the word X if you." So, dude, I'm not kidding. The message requests inbox had an infinite amount of leads that were reaching out to us. So I didn't even have to go and like reach out to new followers because our message request inbox was just like, bro,
Wow. Dude, so you just got reps in all day.
dude, for 6 months straight, I was just like tackling, like destroying the inbox all day. So yeah, that was an interesting experience. But yeah, I learned a lot from. I mean, I did that for them, but I've also had my own business, my own coach. It was just like let's just call it like a pause that I had between switching offers, that I still wanted to keep like money coming in, and setting was one of the main things or my strengths. But I've been doing that also for my own business for 4 years as well. So yeah, that's where I got all of those reps.
Awesome. Cool.
So yeah. All right, let's keep going. Okay, I think we have everything in terms of like the different scenarios. We have the new followers, the engagers with content, and the CTAs, both for the hard and the soft. I think that's all we need right now for that part. So then the next thing is sorry, give me just 1 second. Just finishing one more. Okay. So next thing is I just want to put the main points in order. I just want to clarify something. The main points doesn't mean that you necessarily have to ask those exact same questions. Like, it's just like again, depending on how the conversation is going. So if the first point says, "Are you a Catholic?" then it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to ask that question. It's just like a guideline, right? Like, did I already cover that, even if I asked it in a different way? So just wanted to clarify that. So first thing, and let's just again put ourselves in the shoes of the avatar. The flow. Catholic is the first question. Then the next one I think would be, where are they from? And then what do they do for a living? And then we start digging deep into the fitness. What do you think about that, Joe?
I like that a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've been doing the opposite, and I think that's why I get ghosted a lot.
Yeah. Again, the first objective is just to get the conversation going. Once it is going and you're like warming, I mean, same as dating a girl, bro. Like if you approach a girl in a bar and you straight go to like deep questions before you, same thing. So okay. Then the next one is, what do you do for a living? Where is it? Okay, and then we can start. So just in order, are you a Catholic / fellow Catholic? Just checking that. What country are you from? Where are you based? Where are you from? What do you do for a living? Those are the first three. After that, then we can start getting deep into, going into the fitness thing. So what do you think is a good question to just like breach that and open the conversation? Maybe, are you also, or
Yeah, like, are you also on a fitness journey? I feel like that's a pretty general, like, or maybe how's the fitness journey going lately? I like
Yeah.
that.
All right. Anything else? Any other options that come to mind?
That would probably be my first question.
Perfect. Okay. So after we ask that, what I think the next natural one, just thinking of the flow, is what is the goal, right?
Yep. Yep. Because they'll almost always say like, not really, LOL, or I am, exclamation point. To either one, I'm usually like, awesome, man. How's that been going lately? Like, are you progressing at a good rate, or like, what are you struggling with?
I wouldn't if you I would separate the struggle question from that. I would
Okay.
either ask what's the goal or how's that been going lately. I think those two are like very similar in terms of like the level, but then I would then go into like what are you struggling with after that one. I wouldn't leave it at the
Makes
same.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you struggling with? Or how did you ask it?
What's been the biggest struggle with reaching that? Like, why are you stagnating? Something like that.
Okay. So what do you do for work? Are you also on a fitness journey? What's the goal? What are you struggling with? I'm just gonna check the ones that we already covered here.
Usually after that, I would ask how long. Like, oh man, has that been a problem for a long time?
Yeah. Can you say that again? I loved the way that you asked that.
Yeah, I said like, oh man, has that been have you struggled with that for a long time?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Um,
I didn't finish typing everything. Yeah.
oh, no worries. Have you struggled with that for a long time?
All right.
Then country.
What have you tried before? I like that after.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And then end with maybe the pain, digging deep and stuff. Why do you want to change and stuff?
Yeah, I'm gonna put that there, but maybe again, you always minimum effective dose. You just want to ask yourself, if I pitch right now, would this be enough for them to want to hop on a call? And just based my intuition is telling me that probably by this point, when you ask them what have you tried before, you're probably already gonna have enough leverage to pitch. So I would suggest that up until that point, you make an assessment like, hey, did they give me enough? Because think about it this way: if someone tells you what is their goal with their fitness, what are they struggling with, and for how long have they struggled with, and what they've tried before, would you agree with me that if they tell you all of those things and you pitch, it would probably make sense for them to want to hop on a call with you without the need of you having to ask like,
Yeah, probably. This is I mean, the biggest belief you've broken right now, Eduardo, is like you don't have to just dive deep into super deep pain to get a phone call. So this is all new to me, but yeah, I mean, if we were in a conversation in person, I would be like, oh yeah, let's like set up a call. I'll help you out.
yeah,
So I think you're right.
again, minimum. Don't get me wrong, yeah, like, because again, it's just that in the DMs, it's hard to get a lot of. It's hard to get someone to share with you as much as they can share with you on a phone call, right?
Yeah.
So we want to get, and again, the only objective of the conversation is to get them on the call. I mean, the general objective, right?
Yep.
And the way that you do that is by building leverage. But so yeah, again, if we can do that with the least amount of questions, the better. Because think about it this way: people are not on their DMs all the time. They sometimes just take a quick break to the restroom and they reply. But it's not like they're not there. So it's a completely different beast versus when you're in the phone call, right? So you just
Totally.
want to get want to get them to book a call as soon as possible. So we're going to add those questions as well. The only thing I'm asking you guys is don't try to check all the boxes as if you're a robot. Like if you get enough leverage from even just one I mean, I'm not kidding. When you ask someone like, are you also on a fitness journey or how's the fitness journey going lately? Some of them are going to open completely and just share their whole life with you. And maybe that's going to be enough depth and leverage for you to just pitch. So that's what I'm saying. Like you don't have to necessarily go through all of the points. As soon as you get enough, and again, you're going to start developing that muscle as you go, getting the reps. But just wanted to point that out. So
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Okay. I think we have it. I'm gonna send this to you on Slack, Joe. I'm also gonna
Okay.
share here, but let me know what you think about this order.
Okay.
Just send it here in the chat so that you can also see that, Levi.
I was also going to share with you my pitch that I've been doing. And if you think I should just say exactly what you say in your template, I can. But I wanted to share with you.
Please, can you share it with me?
Yep, I'm typing it right now. One sec.
Does this all make sense, by the way?
Yes.
Oh, and also this before I forget.
Almost done.
Yeah, you're good.
So that's what I say. Once I get enough leverage, I say that. Oh shit, I missed a step, Eduardo. I say, why don't we set up a call and we can figure out a game plan? Does that sound good? And then they say yes, and then I say awesome. Sorry.
Got you. I would encourage you to test the pitch that I shared with you guys.
Okay.
So let's actually already modify that that template. Oh. Give me just a sec. So that's the last thing we're gonna do today, and then do a quick role play, and I'll tackle your questions. But so far, makes sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Speech sequence. So this is the speech sequence, as you probably guys saw on the masterclass.
Yeah.
So we need to fix it, or we need to fix it for your situation. In your case, the message 1 should stay the same. Message 2, let's do this. I have a program where we help. In your case, it's basically Catholic men, right? We can already change that.
Yeah. Get in shape and practice what they preach.
Catholic men. Sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah. Get in shape and practice what they preach. I feel like that's worked well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's message 2. Then message 3, based on what you shared with me, how many people have you worked with?
About 100. So I say hundreds.
Based on what you've shared with me, it sounds exactly like you're the type of person I could help. I've worked with hundreds of men and helped them.
Should we say hundreds of Catholic men?
Yeah. Thank you for that. Hundreds of Catholic men and helped them.
Build good habits, lose weight so they can be strong role models for their families.
Okay, can you say it again? Help them build good habits.
Yeah, get in shape and build good habits so they can be good role models for their families. Strong role models for their families.
Then message 4 is going to be the same.
Cool. Is this too much writing? No? Okay.
Test it.
Yeah, that's fair. You probably know.
Test it. You'll see, again, that's why I love doing the role play. You guys are going to see, now that we do that, how this looks. Just sent it to you on our Slack, and I'm going to send it here as well.
I've been taking notes in Notion, Joey, as well.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, here it is. You boys can, I just sent it to you on Slack, Joe, but either way, it's also here. So with that being said, let's do a little role play.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna be the setter in this case. Who wants to be the prospect?
I'll do it.
Awesome. Let me just go to the restroom real quick, and we'll do that.
Levi, is this all making sense? Yo, this is
it's similar, but I can see it's different enough from what you've told me that I can see why this makes a lot more sense.
Agreed. Because you got to think my way, we're bottlenecked. Like it's not working. This, I think, is going to work very well. How does this feel? This feels way more comfortable. We have like a list of questions we just kind of go through. And then once you have a gut feeling, you just add, you copy paste this 4 messages.
It seems like there's less margin for error.
Yes. Dude, a lot of these are copy paste, which is going to be so quick. Yeah.
All right, boys, you ready? Yeah. And about that thing that you said, the text replacements. Did you see that? What I did at the end of the appointment setting masterclass?
I don't recall which part.
Well, text replacements is like, in the Apple, in all the Apple devices, you have something that's called text replacements, which is like you just put a keyword and it automatically changes it to what. So you can set those up, and it just makes things so much like faster.
Yes. Okay, I'll do that. I'm gonna make a note to do that.
All right. So Joe.
Yeah, let's do it.
Give me just a second. Role play. Eduardo is better. Which scenario do you want to do? Like new follower, CTA,
Let's do like liking my content.
okay. Are you engager content?
Got it.
Okay. So here's what we are going to do. Give me just a sec. I'm gonna share my screen so that you can see what we're doing, Levi, and then you're gonna keep that in your Slack as well, Joe.
Okay.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you mind if I throw in a like a question that I get asked a lot that throws off my script?
Whatever you want, yeah.
Okay.
Throw it at me. Wait, this is not the one. Sorry. There we go. Where are you from, Joe?
United States, Chicago.
Chicago, yeah. Okay, so I just want to get a little bit of context because I mean, quote unquote, I'm supposed to be you right now, right? So I just wanted to give you some.
Yep.
Want to get some context from you to handle this.
Well, that's good.
So just an example here, before moving immediately to like, what is the goal? Going for depth when you gave me something to grab. It could be better. I don't know what that means, right? So
Right. I get this a lot. That's good.
So as you can see, here's what I did before. I mean, right now you're seeing me typing this out, right? But so that you don't give them a chance to ask you another question and like regain the frame. So I addressed your question and defer, and immediately I'm gonna send this. So I'm just typing everything before hitting send, so that I don't give you a chance to get back to me before I send you this, so that you don't get the chance to take control of the conversation again.
That's smart. Yeah.
So boom and boom.
Yeah. So I'm noticing your second message is almost always a question. So you acknowledge, you do ACA, or you do the A and the C in the first message, and then the question's the second.
Sometimes when it's long, yeah. If it's not very long, I just ask it in the same one, like here. But if it makes sense, you can just separate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, here it's gonna take me a little while just because I didn't have this ready. But let's assume that I sent this straight away. But you want to have this ready so that you can literally just copy and paste it,
Okay.
just for you to see how this would look.
That's good. So make sure you use their language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll help you.
Bro, that was so good.
Do you see the difference?
Dude, I've been doing DMs for a year and my shit's not nearly as good as that. So this is super helpful.
So once they say they're down, you have a couple options, right? You can book through a link or book manually. Tell me something. How old are usually the people that you speak with? Do you know?
Average age is about 25, 26.
25, 26. Okay. How do you usually book? Do you send the link?
Yeah, I'll say to this, I'll be like, awesome. Let me get my Calendly link and let me drop my Calendly link and you can pick whatever day or time works best for you. Here, let me grab it. Dot, 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 send, and then send the link. And then I say like, here, go ahead and book it now.
Okay. Does that work well? Sending the link? Do you know if most people reply?
I would say 60%.
Okay. Mhm.
But then again, I don't get this much volume. Volume. So it might be higher.
The only thing, so I like sending, if you're going to be sending the link, again, if it's, because a lot of people don't know what Calendly is, these people, right? So the way that I like to frame it is with this message. And again, just for you to see what I mean by the text replacements, I mean, I already have those here because that's what I was using when I was a setter. So for example, here, I already knew the codes in my head. This was like C20, for example. I don't know if you saw what happened there.
Yeah.
I have a text replacement that I know is like C20 and it changes it to this. Then C21.
Oh shit, that's gonna help a lot.
So just for you to, then you keep going. You want to reply?
Yeah, sorry. Awesome.
Yeah.
I actually have a Calendly link that makes this work.
So I'm explaining what is a link for, giving them perceived you want to get their permission to send the link before you send it. It gives them perceived control of the conversation.
Yep.
Sure, man. Awesome. I'll just add your link here.
Okay. Cool.
In your Calendly link, do you have a form or do you just ask for name?
Did have a form, and then I watched your appointment setting video, and so I removed all the friction.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's
Because
just
the thing,
literally.
we're already qualified. Like again, right now we're going to optimize for volume, and then we will start dialing things down and adding friction. But we already have a sequence in the DMs that you're already qualifying people. I mean, in the most, at least the most essential things, right? What do they do for work? Where are they from? And if they're Catholic. Honestly, I think that's all we need to know right now. Again, once you start getting on the phone with people, you're gonna be able to tell me, bro, I've just realized that, but we want to back that with data, right? I realized that all of the people that come that are X don't close, so then we can start adding that friction in the form. But in the beginning, we want to optimize for volume.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
Question.
Damn. No,
Comments?
man, this is so helpful. I think the biggest thing I took away here is that no matter what I say, you're acknowledging it.
And
Yeah.
like if I say 2 or 3 things, you acknowledged all 3. So I really like that. I don't do that.
How does that make you feel now that you experienced it as a prospect?
I felt heard. I felt seen. That was good. Like I felt like no matter what I said, you were listening. So that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like I don't do that, and so that's probably why I get ghosted.
A bunch of times, yeah. That's
Yeah.
probably the. So with that being said, I mean, I think that was the most important thing. So do you guys know what are the next steps? I need you to start using that pitch sequence. You already have, I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but I literally just used everything that we spoke about in the call, right? I went through those 5 to 10 points in order. Here's the thing. That's what I mean about not being robotic and just trying to go through that list as a robot. As you could see, based on how you started opening up with me, when I asked about the fitness journey going, you kind of opened about the struggle. So I dug deep into the struggle first, and then I asked about the goal, right? Because right now we have that order a little bit different in the points here. But again, that's why I'm saying like don't be a robot doing this. Like based on what they're telling you, you want to hit those points. That's kind of the order that in our head seemed like it was going to be like the best order in terms of flow of the conversation. But just use common sense, right? If you're already telling me about the struggle, then doesn't make any sense for me to move to another question and then try to come back to the struggle, right?
Yeah, definitely. Levi, we'll do some role plays, just like this with all 3 scenarios. So new follower. Oh, Eduardo, one other thing I do is I probably shouldn't be doing this anymore, but with a new follower, no matter what they say, I send them my podcast and then plan to follow up 30 days. So should I just be trying to script just be asking questions to everyone and then just play it by ear?
Yeah. So
Okay.
can you explain to me what do you mean by that? Like what is the
Like for every new follower, I'd say like, hey, thanks for the follow. God bless. And they'd say, no problem. Love the content. And I'd be like, well, if you love my short form stuff, you'll love my podcast. I drop a ton of value for Catholic men, drop the podcast. And then I put it in my tracker to follow up in 30 days.
ask the question?
Yeah. Okay.
If you do that, again, just think about it this way. Like you want it to sound natural. So let's say that you and me are in a conference in person, right? And I mean, in a conference where they're speaking about fitness. So you know that I'm there because I'm interested in fitness. Or let's say that I'm you and you're me, whatever. And you come to me and you're like, yo, what's up, bro? Like, because it's like, again, this is a follower scenario. You just come to me and say hi. And I'm like, yo, what's up, dude? How are you? I mean, again, knowing the scenario that we're in like a fitness interested situation, I'm like, hey, bro, doing good. Like, I'm trying to think how this would make sense for this example. But again, let's say you come to me and you say hi, and I'm like, yo, what's up, bro? How's everything going? Appreciate you coming to say hello. Yeah, all good, bro. I just saw you and looks like you're into fitness. So love that. And I'm like, yeah, bro, I love that. By the way, here's my book. Check it out.
Yeah.
Or here's my, like, so ask questions or even get their permission. Even, hey, what brought you to this conference? I mean, just using that example. And they're like, yeah, bro, I'm really interested in losing weight. Then you can be like, oh, bro, that's amazing. Would you like, again, even if you're going to send it to them, ask first, hey, I have a podcast where I go way deeper into all of these concepts. Would you be interested in getting the link? Always get their permission. But to be honest with you, I wouldn't go straight for that. Again, make it about them. You need to make it about them. So if you're asking them questions about, people like to speak about them, right? So if you're just like, hey, here's my podcast, watch it, it's like you're making it about you. Unless you tell them like, hey, I have a podcast where I go deeper into this problems based on what you shared with me, it sounds like you'll be like, then share it with them, But I would try to just immediately go for those questions, like, are you Catholic? And then, through all of those points that we mentioned.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, dude, that's super helpful. All this is super helpful. I think next steps are for us to like really nail down this process. Levi and I do a couple role plays. And then, oh yeah, before you go, do you mind if we fire off those questions real quick? I just had some.
For sure. I'm just looking at them. Give me a second.
Sure.
How much time should a setter be spending in the DMs? I mean, as much as humanly possible, especially like capitalizing on the opportunity, right? If you have a lot of followers or a lot of, engagement, as much as possible. Having multiple setters. You're going to see this on the Monday's call recording, but you always want to follow the concept of like more, better, new. You want to first squeeze out as much as possible from what you currently have, then try to make it better and then do something new. So actually, when I was a setter, there was a point where the demand was just so crazy that it wasn't enough for just one setter to handle all of it. And we brought in another person. And I can tell you that having multiple setters brings in a lot of complexity with it. So before you actually try to bring someone new or someone else and adding that complexity, I would actually encourage you to try to max out first, to try to find what's the maximum capacity that one person can handle, so that then you know what you need to do in terms of like having multiple people. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And how many DMs should per day? So the main, as I mentioned in that call, like, I mean, minimum, I would say that touch points. And by the way, do you guys know what I mean by touch points?
Yeah. Look, like following up with people.
Touch points is just basically how many people you interact with every day. And that could be a combination of new messages, follow-ups, or replies to messages from the previous day. So that is the sum of all of those things, just to keep things simple. So at least 100 touch points a day. And I mean, that would be the minimum. But again, the more the better. If you're having, 150 to 200 new followers and people engaging, like, we should try to do it as much as possible. So how many? At least trying to do the 100 touch points. Posting CTAs on your story every day, I'm not sure if every single day is a good idea. I think 2 or 3 times a week would be good, and especially if we launch the swipe up retargeting ads, which you and me are going to cover in a different call. That's going to help a lot. And how often should you review and audit the DMs? Here's the thing: the closer you can be to Levi, because you're new to this, right, Levi? This is like basically new for you. So this is very important for both of you. You need to have a lot of communication. You Levi, as a setter, communicate with Joe what you need help with. Be very open with him. And Joe, try to be as close as Levi as possible in the beginning. The closer you can be through the training period, the faster that Levi is going to be fully ramped up and being able to just like do things on his own. So this does not necessarily mean reviewing his DMs. It can also be, I mean, one of the best ways that I did before, to like, for example, when we brought in a new setter to like this offer that I was being a setter for, this guy honestly wasn't properly trained. So I had to spend like 2 weeks training him as if he was like a completely new setter. And what I was doing is I was sharing my screen with him as I was tackling the DMs in the inbox, and I was just sharing with him my thought process of like why I was doing what I was doing there, right? Why was I replying that way? So like that kind of like over the shoulder training. So in that way, you're training them at the same time that you're also tackling the inbox. So you're not like wasting time. So role plays also help, and reviewing conversations also help, but that is also a really, really good way, just like learning through, I think it's called osmosis, right, in English? Yeah.
Got it. That's helpful.
But also reviewing conversations. So like, guys, having a very close, relationship and communication throughout the way, it's going to be crucial. So you, Levi, being very if you have a question, if you don't know how to do something, like, I mean, Joe, you as like the leader and the coach, just being open to receive those questions and having that open communication, and you, Levi, communicating that with him, right? Like, hey, I don't know how to reply here. I don't know how I handle this conversation. So like being very open, like it's super important that you have really good communication, and just try to be closer during like the training season or the training period. And then based on that, the closer you can be, the more involved, the faster you're going to be able to ramp things up.
And then thank you. That's helpful. And then final question is, should I be spending time in the DMs? Because I really want to book calls, and Levi's doing 2 hours a day, maybe a few extra hours on the weekends, until he's out of, until summer.
So how does your day currently look like?
I do my non-negotiables in the morning, like post, and then, stuff like that. And then from like 9 a.m. to noon, I try to do like needle moving things, like high leverage thing, like fix onboarding or something like that. And then I try to have calls prepared for the afternoon, whether that's with the team or coaching calls with like now Summit or my old program, or sales calls.
Okay. So I mean, yeah. If Levi is only doing 2 hours now, ideally you would also be able to do, also to keep, again, because you're testing a whole new framework. I would highly suggest that you because here's the thing, this is the highest leverage activity for your business right now. Like, this is the main constraint.
Yeah.
So because you're testing a new framework as well yourself, I think it would be amazing if you can get also reps in the inbox, so that whether that's with Levi or if you eventually decide to bring on more people, right? If we realize that your demand, that you have a way bigger demand for just one person to handle, and you have multiple people in the team handling the inbox, so that you know how to correct them, right? So for now, yes, the more time that you can spend in the inbox in the short term is going to just yield to an amazing ROI of your time in the long term, because you're going to be able to know what people are doing right or not. So that's one thing. Long story, yes, spend time
Okay.
in the.
I'll just block it off on my calendar and make it non-negotiable, because you're
That's what
right.
I'm
We
saying.
got
Yeah,
to book calls.
yeah. I mean, that's what keeps the business going, right? So doesn't matter if you have the best onboarding in the world if you have no one going through that process, right? So
Yeah. Okay. Levi, do you have any questions?
No, Eduardo was very thorough with his everything
Nice.
went over. So thank you, Eduardo, for your time.
my pleasure, guys. Glad that
Phenomenal.
we could have this call. I'm going to reach out to you on Slack. I want to book another call this week just to help you, just kind of do like a little debrief. Also, if you start, it would be great if you can start implementing this and see if you can come up with some questions. Also, Wednesday's setting call, again, if Levi, if you can make it, that would be amazing. Joe, also, I mean, if you can make it, would be great. And you can bring all of your specific questions there, like, hey, what do I do in this conversation? Like literally all of that. And you're going to see a lot of what other people are doing. So that's that. And yeah, just I want to book that call with you, Joe, just to speak about that, like the next steps, the swipe up retargeting ads, and a couple things that I know that we can also do to support you or help you with all of this. But bro,
Okay.
we're in a really good place. We're
Let's
just
do it.
couple tweaks, and this is gonna start blowing up really fast.
Sounds good, man. I'm about to go put an hour into DMs right now. So
Dude, get those reps in and have those. I mean, if you can already start identifying constraints, questions, bottlenecks, whatever it is, so that you can bring them to me, let me know. And I mean, hopefully I'll see you both on Wednesday, or if not, at least you, Joe, if you can make it. If you can't, Levi. And again, I'll also send you my Calendly link. But I think it would be best, Joe, if you can book towards the end of the week, like Thursday or Friday, so you
Okay.
can get some reps in and already have probably some questions like, hey, I just want to make sure that you identify what are the bottlenecks or struggles that you have with this new approach, and then we can tackle those on the call, top of the other things, right? So I'll send you my Calendly link on Slack, and if you can book for, again, Thursday or Friday, that would be the best. And again, also, if you can hop on Wednesday setting call, that would be incredible.
Awesome. Sounds good. I'll do all that.
Sounds good. More questions, guys?
I'm done. I'm fried. I'm good to go.
Let's go. Let's get
Awesome.
it. Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
Really exciting. My pleasure. As always, if you need anything, I'm here to serve you. Levi, if you have any questions about setting that you want to ask me, just tell Joe. Joe, shoot them my way.
Okay.
I'll try to do my best to get back to you guys as soon as possible. And again, really exciting shit. We're going to blow up.
Let's go, man.
Let's keep it up. I'll see you on Wednesday. I'll send you my calendar link. So book that as soon as when you have time. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, just let me know here on Slack.
Okay. Awesome. Sounds good, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. I hope you enjoyed the video and you learned a lot and you're able to go out there and book a handful of calls. If you do, drop a comment on the video and let us know. And let me know if you want to see more videos like this too. But nonetheless, if you thought this video was valuable and you want to get hands-on support and coaching to this degree of depth, then book a call down below. The link's in the description right now. And you can chat with one of my team members to see if you're a good fit for the program. So you have to be actually good at what you do. You have to have verifiable, proven case studies that we can check to make sure that you are actually good, and be doing at least 5 to 30K a month with your online coaching business, and we can help you. So as long as you check those boxes and you bring your credit card, then booking the call down below. We don't like wasting our time or yours, so we want to get cracking right away. So if you do actually want to alleviate your bottlenecks as well, so you can start scaling today, book a call down below, and I'll see you soon.